Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Have you ever wondered what you would do if you were trying to plan food storage and you were gluten intolerant, maybe had celiac disease and needed a gluten-free diet? Well, there are still lots of long-lasting grains and foods that you can put in your prepper pantry and your food storage stockpile. You can still start with rice because rice is still a naturally gluten-free product. You always want to read the ingredients though to make sure that it just says rice and there's no allergy warnings. Sometimes foods are packaged in the same facility and there may be cross-contaminants. So depending on how sensitive you are, you want to make sure that you're reading the labels carefully to make sure that you don't accidentally ingest something that you are allergic to. Both brown rice and white rice are gluten-free, but as always, the brown rice has lots of natural oils and so it is going to go rancid. You need to rotate your brown rice within a year or two or three, but your white rice can last for 30 years or even more. Always want to make sure that you store your rice in an airtight container. You can put it in a jar and seal it up. You can use a food saver to vacuum seal your rice. You can put it in Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, and store it in big buckets. The better that you store your food, the better it's going to last. If it's food that you're going to rotate within a year or two, you don't need to use oxygen absorbers and Mylar bags. You can store it in airtight containers so that you have it more readily available and accessible in your pantry. Save your Mylar and your oxygen absorbers for the foods that you're putting into your deep long-term food storage for the longest lasting foods. Oats are another great gluten-free natural grain or cereal. Oatmeal is delicious for breakfast and oats are great to use in all kinds of recipes. You definitely want to read the label for oatmeal to make sure that there aren't any warnings on it, because oatmeal is one of our popular cereals and it can be processed in those same facilities. So oatmeal would be something you definitely need to read the label. Quinoa is another naturally gluten-free grain that's really delicious. It contains all 8 of the essential amino acids that you need in your diet. It also is a great source of protein and fiber. You can buy packages of quinoa that are like the little seeds, the little grains. You can also look for quinoa flour if you want to use it in baking. I was reading that the most popular gluten-free grain worldwide is corn, which I was surprised. I thought it would have been rice. Cornmeal is a great item to have in your prepper pantry because you can make so many delicious things with it. Cornmeal is great to have in your prepper pantry, but it comes in a paper container, so of course that's not going to last long term. I have also had a lot of problems with the weevils that naturally occur in grain being more evident in corn than any other grain that I've ever stored. So make sure when you bring home foods for your prepper pantry that are grains, put them in the freezer for a few days. That will kill off any eggs or weevils that are naturally occurring in the grains. Grains naturally contain little weevils, so there might be little bugs or eggs in here that are natural. It's not a sign of some disgusting contamination. It's something that's natural. Store it in the freezer for a few days and it'll kill those off. Then let the food completely thaw out, come back to room temperature, and then seal it in an airtight container. Grits are also made from corn and they are a great prepper pantry gluten-free item. You want to read carefully on the label though to make sure there's no cross-contamination, simply because they come from mills. For example, Bob's Red Mill, they have all types of wonderful grains, very high quality. So you can easily read on the label that they're tested and confirmed gluten-free by quality control laboratories. Sometimes the products will even state that they're made on a gluten-free production line, and that will help you ensure that you're avoiding any cross-contamination. Buckwheat is also a naturally gluten-free grain. It sounds like wheat, but it isn't. It's actually a seed of grass, and so it's naturally gluten-free. Even on the regular pasta aisle, you can find gluten-free pastas. Some of them are made from lentils, which are naturally gluten-free, and that's the only ingredient. Others are certified gluten-free because they're made from corn and rice flour. So read the ingredients so that you have an idea what is your gluten-free pasta made out of, because the variety of grain that it's made from can certainly affect the flavor of it. I've tried different varieties of gluten-free pastas. Each one adds a unique flavor to your pasta dish, so maybe you'll want to try them anyway and get a wide variety so that you can add variety, spice, and flavor to your regular prepper pantry meals. You absolutely also need to pay attention to the serving size and the ounces, because the gluten-free are far smaller packages with fewer ounces and fewer servings per container. There are lots of box mixes, cake mixes, muffin mixes, pancake mixes. Look through the store and see what are the foods that you most want to have in your prepper pantry, and those are the gluten-free items that you can look for. Yes, they're more expensive, but if your diet requires it, then that's an expense that you need to budget for. You need to make sure that you're checking the dates, because a lot of the mixes are not going to store for very long term. You'll need to use them within maybe a year or two. That's just the nature of mixes, whether they're made gluten-free or not. The mixture of additional ingredients begins the countdown, and when the very first ingredient goes expired or out of date, that's when it is all of it. It doesn't matter if it has rice in it, if it also has oil in it, because the oil is going to become no longer safe and good to eat. Well, the rice would be fine. That's one reason the more simple that you can store your foods, the easier it is for them to last longer. Single ingredients last far longer than mixed ingredients, just for that reason. If gluten-free lifestyle is something that you're concerned with, then you need to be looking over for the longest lasting gluten-free products, and those are great to put in your long-term food storage pantry. If you liked my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else you think might like it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.